Ever since Secret Invasion ended up being one of the biggest fumbles to Marvel Studios, there's been a lot of questions of what exactly is going on and how could you fail so hard? Well, we've gotten some details in the last couple of weeks in regards to what exactly Marvel Studios does and does not understand about TV productions. So typical TV productions are handled in a way where a studio orders a pilot to be made. The pilot is typically 4 to 6 times more expensive than almost every other episode in the series. You got a cast, it's a one-time thing, you're building the best sets, you're setting up a foundation, essentially R&D in a way, right? Research and development, and then once you got that locked in, then if the series is picked up, you already have some of the assets. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did this, for example. They had, the jet they had Loa, they had a bunch of other things they got in place. The pilot was expensive. Then it went to TV series and it got cheaper. Marvel Studios doesn't understand that. Recent reports have shed a light on them essentially greenlighting multiple, and this is pretty much every Disney Plus MCU series, with $150 plus million per series, greenlighting it on the fly without showrunners, because they just expect the film executives who are there to run it as showrunners, which this is a major no. That's not how it works. They also skip the pilot period, and if you don't have a showrunner and you're not doing the pilot thing, then you're already doing things massively backwards. So they would do these things kind of, as a combo, making things worse, committing to $150 million per season plus without knowing episode counts, without knowing how much post-production time or anything is needed, stretched everybody too thin. Now, obviously, $150 million budget or $200 million, right? On a film, sure, it's 2 hours, 2.5 max maybe, right? You're talking TV series, everything suddenly changes. So they weren't really accounting for that moving forward. And it sounds like that there was a lot of issues with this whole thing in terms of how they were structuring going to production, post-production, how much they were spending, trying to spend the same amount on every episode, cutting around some corners. And then we learned that even in post-production, since they missed a lot of stuff that they didn't have, due to, not having showrunners or major people to keep everything on order and Kevin Feige not being on hand for every show, they essentially relied on post-production to fix major issues, which again doesn't make sense. And then if that wasn't working, they would also schedule more reshoots, but the reshoots were done in a super quick haste manner that sometimes they only had days, sometimes only 48 hours to get concept art done, which I've talked about, and get it in front of them so they could shoot a quick reshoot, literally 1 or 2 takes, and then get back to the studio to edit to wrap it up in time. Essentially, they treated TV like film, and you can't do it like that because it starts to show that it's falling apart, which I think it's safe to say we definitely saw happened.